Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Well, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Sunday Night Live. It is the zoo, and it's a special birthday SHTF special. I tell you, there I am. Got my hot toddy. It is time to get down to it. 2024 is turning out to be a whacked out, freaky kind of a year. It just is. I knew it was going to get stupid. I knew it was going to be wild. I didn't know it would happen so fast. So, Sunday Night Live is your show, whether you're on thepreparedmind.club, a premium channel for all week long, subscribestar.com, our premium channel all week long, and YouTube, Sunday Night Live, where everyone can be here at the same time live. The show is live. Got to shake it off, folks. It has been one hell of a weekend. I hope everyone's ready for Martin Luther King Jr. Day tomorrow. Cheers to Martin Luther King Jr. because no one gives a shit about him anymore. They don't want people of color, not all of them, just the idiots, don't want to be, thought of, right, as being equal. They now want to be special, right? It was, I don't want to be judged by the color of my skin, but the content of my character. Now they want to be judged by the color of their skin. These people of color, they want to be special for it rather than saying, I just want to be me and be equal. It's crazy, but that's tomorrow. Tonight is Sunday Night Live. It is a birthday special zoo. My birthday was, this weekend zone. It got celebrated. Had a good time. Now, Sunday Night Live, I've got all kinds of stuff to talk about. International, national, educational, military, legal, political, et cetera. But this is your chance. This is your chance to control the questions, the thoughts, everything on here. Your questions will come up here if you hit the super chat button up there. And Chin Music has done a 5556 super chat donation to kick the show off. It's always a battle between Chin Music and Darcy T. Anyways, over the birthday week, I finished up the bottle of Glenfiddich 18 and had to go buy a new one with, last week's super chat donation. So here we are. I guess I had to pull the cork out, huh? This feels like I'm picking up where last night ended. I'll share a little bit of it with you here in just a few seconds. What happened last night? Here's to you, Chin Music. Here's to you, freedom lovers, Americans everywhere. Salute, prost, cheers, and God bless America. Woo, I tell you. All right, well, the fact of the matter is on this birthday, I'm turning 54. 54. 10 years ago, I started this show. I was only 44. I feel kind of worse for the wear. Anyways, enough about that. Let's get into some fun, shall we? Mr. Uman and Jolene, they're in the house with the big blue wrenches. If you see Chin Music's questions, comments, thoughts, there it is. Bring him on up. And he says, happy birthday, Tiny. 90% of my politics can be summed up in 4 parts. Number 1, leave me alone. Number 2, don't hurt innocent people. Number 3, don't take other people's shit. Number 4, again, leave me alone. Rule 4 has been continually ignored, and I'm not playing nice at recess anymore. A question. Do you think it's a coincidence that all the countries in the coalition supporting the bombing and pushing war in the Middle East are not BRICS members? Let's go up to the second part there and start the question again so I can read it smooth. Do you, John, think it's a coincidence that all the countries in the coalition supporting the bombing and pushing war in the Middle East are not BRICS members? I don't think there's a coincidence anywhere in any of this. Countries have chosen sides, and they're continuing to choose sides. I think we really know where most of the nations land, who they support, who they're behind. There are a couple of wild cards, though. One of them, the big one, is Turkey, big wild card nation. Will it stay NATO or will it flop over to the BRICS side? There have been, and BRICS, folks, is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They've been joined by a smattering of other countries officially becoming BRICS members, being voted in to include Iran, Saudi Arabia, and several others. Now, BRICS is a economic financial union. It's also a pseudo military union. Saudi Arabia, folks, who has been an ally of the United States for a long, long time, especially since the 70s, the 1970s, 50 years ago. And they said, that's it, we're done. America out and away. They now are allied with Russia primarily as their protector and China. But China, folks, has soldiers inside Saudi Arabia. Now, there are no coincidences, but we're going to see some more surprises. Many, many, many nations are saying they want to join BRICS. Now, some of the two that I think would be, well, there's three that I think would be most dangerous for America to lose. Number one, I mentioned Turkey. They are the largest NATO military in Europe, if you want to consider Turkey to be European. It's kind of in that Orient, what used to be called the Orient, which seemed to include everything from Turkey or the Balkans all the way to China and Japan. Anyways, apparently now it's not all Oriental. Even though I drive by a Asian food market all the time that's called Oriental Market, and they don't give a fuck. Anyways, let me continue with war in the Middle East, BRICS members, non-BRICS members. I think Turkey could flop. You know who else could flip-flop? Into the BRICS. And this would be a shocker. I still find it very, very hard to believe, but also possible. Japan is my second pick for a country that wants to join BRICS. Now, what's my justification for Japan leaving England, leaving the United States and saying, we want to be part of the BRICS? Well, Japan used to be the single largest purchaser of U.S. Treasury bonds, T-bills. They would buy from the bond market U.S. notes. They would collect interest on them, right? And that cash would be taken by the U.S. Kind of like if you bought a savings bond, you'd be like, government, I want $1,000 in savings bonds because I support our country. Anyways, Japan has been divesting themselves of U.S. bonds faster than Russia and China. They're very BRICS-ish without being part of BRICS. And the third country that I find to be very fascinating, a big threat to the United States government in Washington, D.C., is Mexico. Mexico. The war for the United States of America, and you, Chin Music, need to be very aware of this, and I'm sure you are, no doubt. Mexico may join the BRICS Union. There's not a lot of talk of it, but what if? How much would China and how much would Russia enjoy seeing Mexico with a long, long southern border stretching from sea to the Gulf? They could put military bases there. They could put nuclear weapons there. They could have foreign armies training there. We've discussed that. How would we feel? How would we think that is a great idea. It wouldn't be good for us. We couldn't think that's a good idea. People would be scared to death. Right? Well, the United States and NATO wanted to put military bases inside Ukraine. They violated, was it 13 or 14 times, the NATO agreement not to expand into Europe, into Eastern Europe. And they did it anyways. And it wasn't until they got to Ukraine, right, that Russia said, that's enough of that shit. Anyways, there's no coincidences. Everyone knows what side they're on. The thing with Israel, though, that is quite an interesting question. What are they going to do with Israel? And I want to remind everyone, I am not always happy with Israel. I could take you back to the bombing of the USS Liberty, an American warship with American soldiers on there that was attacked brazenly, openly, intentionally by Israel 60 odd years ago in an effort to draw the United States into war with Egypt and Northern Africa. They didn't sink it. The USS Liberty would not sink. They didn't kill everyone on board. Many soldiers lived to tell the tale. But the American public, we were kept in the dark about it. So Israel, right? I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of Iran. I'm not a big fan of any of that shit over there. That's going to get messy, folks. Right? Alliances can change, and they are. Now, I would like to ask a couple favors of you guys. Give this a thumbs up right now. It's down below. Hit the thumbs up. Okay? And then share the internet address right up there. Pow! Share that internet address. Get it out to people. Let them know we're talking about some very interesting stuff. Woo! And a great super chat donation by all day. Chin Music. Anyways, for a $50 more super chat donation, I get a Glenfiddich 18. Now, I have to let everyone know I drank pretty heavy all night. I might still be drinking heavily right now. That Chin Music bought the first scotch of the night. I'm drinking this here hot toddy. And look out. Last night we celebrated my birthday. Not on my birthday, but we celebrated it. I was told we were going to have a party. I was taken down into Florida. And apparently there's a Roadhouse down there that's owned by Paul Sr. from the American Choppers TV show. And there was a 80s rock and roll band there. And they said, look, you just need to get away, John. You need to go have some fun, relax. It's your birthday. Don't worry. Shit has still hit the fan. Anyways, I wanted to let everyone know. We'll share a little footage of that right here. It was a great time. For hours and hours, it was 80s rock and roll. The band had big, giant 80s hair on their heads. They looked like it. They did everything from Van Halen to AC/DC to Rush to Ozzy Osbourne to The Cult to name your 80s rock band. They did some Billy Idol. They did Kiss. It was a good time. Anyways, and then I met Paul Sr. from American Chopper. Got a picture with him. And it was just one hell of a good time to just kind of cut loose. I drank too much. Anyways, they sang happy birthday to me from the stage. Here's a little taste of what I did last night. And I really wish that I could have had you guys there. Really wished it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you. And thank you so much for the generous tips tonight, man. You guys are really super generous. You guys spoiled us. Thank you so much. And I think we have twins.
It was a good time. That's what happens when you mix, everybody up. Bikers, straights, It was a good time. Anyways, where am I at? Where do we want to go next? I tell you what. Thank you very much, Chin Music, for kicking the show off with that great super chat donation. Let's have some more fun, shall we? And speaking of cheering crowd, being sung happy birthday and having a good time, the crowds are just eating up all of Trump and what Trump is doing and Trump is saying. And he is now being heckled. Now, the other day, who was it? Who was it? Some idiot was out there. Oh yeah, his name was Biden. He was walking down the street. He was called loser by Republicans on the street. Okay, thank you, Jolene. Anyways, Trump had a rally in Iowa, and some idiot Democrat tried causing trouble and started screaming insults at Trump, who just stepped back and criminal, right? This protester shouted at him, and he said, go home to mommy. Your mommy's worried about where you're at. Trump has a response, and the crowds are eating up the Trump, folks. America's waking up with what is happening there. And I think it's pretty interesting what is going on. Let me see if I can find this. I tell you, I need to get my eyes fixed. Hard to see stuff. Anyways, we've got a lot going on in politics here. We're going to get to your super chat donations here in just a quick second. 2 Republican senators are now endorsing Trump for 2024. They may be squashing, crushing, ruining the rhino. Now, the rhinos do definitely control a huge part of the Republicans in the Senate and the House as well. But two senators have clearly stepped forward and said they're going to endorse Trump for 2024. One of them is Senator Mike Lee. And he said, quote, Biden refuses to enforce our border, prosecutes his opponents, and embraces policies that make life unaffordable for hardworking Americans. I choose Trump. Now, that was cool. Senator Mike Barrasso had this to say about Trump. Quote, working with Republicans, I've been drinking way too much. Working with Republicans in Congress, President Trump created the strongest economy of a generation, secured our southern border against a lawless drug and crime invasion, and made America an energy-dominant superpower. Folks, when it comes to this coming election, it's not a lesser of two evils choice to me. It's not. It's America fighting for its life, to survive, to recover its sanity. After, now, back in 2020, back in 2016, back in 2012, 08, 04, 2000, a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evils. I was like, no. You should vote for good, right? Not the lesser of two evils. Now, folks, I think the difference is stark between Trump and Biden. It's not a lesser of two evils. If you have an opinion on that, hit the super chat button. Give me your opinion on whether or not Trump is the lesser of two evils. But without him, our life is over. With him, if Trump were to be elected, we could survive. The country could recover its sanity, and we can continue to fight to throw these rhino scumbags out and fight, right? If we lose this election and we keep, Joe Biden, Gavin Newsom, Michelle Obama, if they get to be president, it's just over. Go get your magazines out, give them a good tap on your head, lock and load, because it'll get nasty. That's what I am anticipating. All right, enough of what I have to say. What do you guys want to say? Jolene, who is up next on the Prepared Mind channel? It is Nancy Keg with a $20 super chat donation. She says, just a special happy birthday to the Big John. Yeah, that was funny. I went up and met the band at the party, and they just, their heads started going up like that. It was funny. Like, holy shit, you're big. I was like, well, thank you. It was great to meet you guys. They were terrific. But those wigs they were wearing had to be hot. I was like, I don't know what shampoo and conditioner you guys use, but you look great. And they had a good laugh. They were all old and fat and silly and sassy, but a bunch of good guys. And they rocked the OCC Roadhouse in Florida. It was a long drive home to get here today, but I'm back on top of the bunker, if you will. Anyways, Nancy, thank you very much. If you got a question, a thought, or something, you go ahead and throw it out there. Jolene, Uman, they'll take care of it. Get you back up on the board. But I do appreciate your support. And folks, Nancy Kaag is here on a daily basis. She puts both their names in her title. She is not afraid to be an American. I'm gonna go with this one. This looks great. I don't know why I didn't look it up. Darcy T is checked in with a $50 PayPal super chat donation. All right, Darcy T, here we go. I'm gonna try and get John in trouble on his at the birthday zoo. Woo! Good thing I've already got my liver's all warmed up from yesterday. Thank you, Darcy T. Here's the 2024. Be an American and fighting hard like you mean it. Ooh, mother's milk, I tell you. Okay, Darcy T. Wow, I'm in trouble. I tell you already. I can feel it. She says, "Good evening, John. Another congressional meeting was held on Friday about UFOs, UAPs. We all know unidentified flying object. They tried changing the names a year ago, and it just didn't stick. It's been around for generations, so they're now UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. They tried giving it some sort of credibility by changing its letters. They're still UFOs. So Darcy continues. I suspect that there may be a global announcement soon. More BS from the BSers. Salut. And thank you. Let's get into this a little bit. Folks, I have seen UAPs. I have seen UFOs. UFOs have actually appeared on the Prepared Mind channel when I have been outside filming. They've flown by through the clouds, etc. I've seen them. Now, I don't know who the occupants are. That is a big deal. I can't tell who the fuck is flying that silver ball. People have seen all manner of shapes, triangles, fucking boomerang shapes, flying pyramids. Sometimes they look like those flying robots like from Empire Strikes Back, that one that went through the snow. I've seen those. Discs, cigar shape, and of course the very famous flying saucer, which looks like a top hat or a bowler hat. Anyways, here's the deal. Also, folks, there are USOs, unidentified submerged objects. That is to say, they fly under the water. They can come out of the water and they go down into the water. They also fly into volcanoes. Now, Congress has been talking about this literally. They have been demanding that it be made public. I do not believe that the governments are allowing this out because of political pressure. The government does not give a shit about what we think. I never lose sight of that. So if they say, oh, yeah, pressure, I think we should put pressure on them over UFOs, over Jeffrey Epstein's island, over Ghislaine Maxwell's list, over Clinton's, over everything, right? But when it comes to something that is national security, hell, global security, galactic security, like UFOs, why would they give a shit what we think? In fact, if you were to go back in history, you would find paperwork saying that we, the people, we can't handle the truth, right? Society would break down. There would be chaos in the streets. Religions would be destroyed. People would lose their minds. It was a paper from, I believe, the Brookings Institute, the Brookings paperwork. So they had to keep it a secret from us, even though every day thousands of people report seeing weird shit. So if Congress is going to be the body through which you and I get to hear about UFOs and the government admits that they're real, there is, believe it, a political agenda, right? They have something to gain from it. There's nothing to gain just telling us and giving us some information. It has to do with control and fear, and then intimidation and control of other countries. I think that's what this is about. It's a distraction. They need to distract us from what's going on in the world. We need to be distracted from our petty little countries. We need to give up the United States border because we're just one planet now. So let everyone run around wherever the fuck they want and be lawless. You know, it's funny. I believe that you're right, Darcy. It is BS from the BSers. It is more bullshit. Now, if all of a sudden there was a large, and some of these UFOs have been reported to be miles across, literally. It's to control us through fear, because that's the number one controlling mechanism. There is no greed for us, right? How can we gain? How can they gain from the greed? Anyways, where I want to go with this is we don't know who's flying these things. Now, the technology, right? They've claimed that they found them in archaeological locations. Under the pyramid, the Sphinx in that area, other parts of the world, Iraq, Iran, Schumer, you bet, up in the desert in Turkey, wherever they found these things, plus the crashed ones from local times, like they've been trying to duplicate the technology. And who says they haven't? I mean, shit, back in the late 80s and then the 90s, Bob Lazar, who's been proven to be right over the decades, not a wacko liar, about Element 115, and a myriad of other things about Area 51, blew the whistle, exposed everything. They didn't let it out then. Now here we are, UFOs. What the hell is it about? There's no benefit for you and me to learn about them other than to scare the living shit out of us and get us to agree to give the government more power, control, etc. I doubt that you and I are going to get self-guided flying cars, right? Now, my thing is, if the aliens manage to crash flying saucers, they're obviously not foolproof, are they? No more than Tesla cars are foolproof. Anyways, it's a great subject. It's going to come. I'm going to keep my powder dry on it, Darcy. I'm not ruling it out as a potential. I think that they'll let it out when it serves them, when they need a major distraction, when they need big time fear, when they want the people to support them, or when the government needs to intimidate its enemies. That's when Washington, D.C. will let it out. Interesting stuff. Okay, Jolene, let's do it. Let's step into some more super chat donations. You guys want to talk? It is Carport Carl. Good hearing from you, man, with a $2 super chat donation. He says, Happy New Year, John, and support staff. The support staff, of course, is Uman and Jolene and lots of people in the background that support things. You guys know who you are. Some of you are out front also with your name on the screen. And some of you just want to be in the quiet and background, and I get it. All right. Thank you, Carport Carl. I appreciate that. Who is next? Jolene. We got Misty Cook. Those 10 steps with a $5 super chat donation. And she wrote, John, he's so cool. He'll tell you straight so you're not a fool. Happy birthday. That's a good one, Misty. Thank you for the poem. She was a poet and didn't know it. I don't know how cool I am. I did have a lot of fun with the general public, though. It was pretty fun. Yeah, people are interesting out in public, especially when the alcohol is involved. But it did really kind of come to mind, that people are looking for leadership. People are looking for strong personalities. That's good and bad. It's good and bad. Hitler was a strong personality. Benito Mussolini was a strong personality. Trump is a strong personality. George Washington was a strong, charismatic personality. People follow strength. We just got to be careful who that strength is, right? Barack Obama, I didn't consider him strong, but people with his mindset sure did. Anyways, we got some trouble coming, folks. Get yourself prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. And if you need to, you get down to thepreparedmind.club and look at what you need to get prepared. We got hard times coming, whether it's incredible climate change, aka winter. Uman right now is suffering up there up north while I'm still down here in the sunny south. Hell, it's so sunny in the south that the sun even shines at night. And I think Uman's flipping me off. No, he's not. He's not. He's a good guy, but damn cold up north. Anyways, let's do this. I think we got another super chat. Who is up next? What do you want to talk about? And it's Misty Cook again with another $2 super chat donation. And folks, you hit that button up there, bam. You can ask a question related to any topic you wish, and I will answer it. If your question is worded funny, in other words, bad words on there in the world of social media, they may try and block you. But if you get your words up on the screen, I'll codify them, secret words, so we can discuss the topic. Now, Misty says, Trump or Ramaswamy? Well, Ramaswamy and Trump are not getting along now. All of a sudden, as if they ever were, it's now on. I think Ramaswamy said, you need to vote for me because it'll strengthen me. But if you vote for Trump, it'll weaken him. It was something weird like that. I'm like, what kind of thinking is that? I think Trump responded to Ramaswamy. Now, something else came up the other day, and I can't remember who sent this to me. It may have been Uman, may have been Kaz, the Italian hillbilly, or it may have been Vaughn, Backcountry Prep, someone in the R Syndicate, or it may have been Orlando. Shit, I can't remember now. But it was a comparison. Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama, and Vivek Ramaswamy. And they would let Barack talk. Yaka, 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 yaka. We need to do something for America. And Ramaswamy would say something very, very similar. Yaka, 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 America. And they showed a couple dozen examples of how Ramaswamy speaks like and speaks to Americans the way Barack did, and probably still does if anyone listened to the dumbass. So we got some issues there. I think Ramaswamy is a rich guy. And then there's Trump. He's a rich guy. I just don't trust him. I don't trust Ramaswamy. In fact, I don't trust everyone or anyone in Washington. I am very suspicious of all of them. I wish they would hold up a sheet and go, look at that. That right there is the Declaration of Independence, and I believe in every word of it. And here is the U.S. Constitution. See that big sheet there? That's the Constitution. I believe every word of it is good for America. And politicians are destroying both. And we need to get rid of people that don't believe in both those incredible documents. The Declaration of Independence was the foundation for fighting for liberty and freedom, and the Constitution was a government-creating document, not to create a perpetual Goliath, but rather a limited government, only powerful where it needed to be to protect the country, allowing the people of the country, you and I, the Americans, to be free of restraint, constraint, censorship, silence, and abuse from government. Anyways, Misty, that's my thoughts. It's Trump all the way, and it won't be, or if you're thinking, will it be Trump and then Ramaswamy as VP? No, I don't think so. I really think that when it comes down to it, when it's all boiled down, it's going to be Trump and Carrie Lake. I really think so. Trump with Kari Lake as the VP. That'll be quite interesting. I think there's a lot of Americans out there, even middle of the road independent as well as liberal women, who would probably appreciate Kari Lake in office. Now, those that are hardcore Democrats, they'll know who Kari Lake is and they won't like her at all. But I think that she may, because she is a strong, intelligent woman. I think that the American people will value her as a Trump supporter and a Constitution supporter. And we've got our frickin' work cut out for us. All right. I'm feeling rather patriotic, which is why I've got the old American flag and anchor, globe, and eagle back there. Jolene, who is up next? We've got 331 people live right now. Woo! And we've just started the show. We're 30 minutes plus into it. We'll go approximately 2 hours, depending on how much you guys want to talk. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day Eve. Is America, the government, is Biden going to step out and say how brilliant MLK was? And that we ought not judge people by the color of their skin, but rather by the content of their character. Well, we're going to find out. Okay, let's do that super chat. Let's get her up there again. It's Bioxo77 with a $4.99 super chat donation. And he says, take a wild guess. Actor Alec Musser, well known for his role as Del Henry in All My Children, has died at 50 years of old age, suddenly, dropping like flies. Wow, take a wild guess at that one. You know what? Did you put old 50-year-old? At 50 years old, oh, you weren't saying 50 is old, because I hit 54. And it's funny. It's weird. I'm the same age as old people. Love it, though. Love it. Yeah, we need to take a wild guess. It's still out there, folks. It is. In fact, I put a post up. Of Jim Jones, picture of Jim Jones, who killed 900 of his own people. And right next to him was Fauci in this picture. And Jim Jones, he's responsible for giving Kool-Aid laced with poison to all of his cult followers back in the 1970s. All of them left America, went down to Guyana in South America, and he convinced them all to drink the Kool-Aid. And they all died. They all dropped like flies. Horrible, tragic, awful, terrible. Anyways, the post I put up on YouTube had a picture of Fauci next to him with one word referring to Jim Jones: amateur. Amateur. Because how many has that little rat, Dr. Fauci, how many has he hurt? I'm telling you, folks, we've got one hell of a show on our hands. Okay. Great. Good stuff. Jolene, who's next? We've got Chin Music. Bam. He is back. Just blasting the screen with a $9.99 super chat donation. If you've got something to say, prediction, thoughts, questions, history, any topic, hit the super chat button and we will make you famous. Chin Music says, with all the reports about falling safety and stock prices at Boeing being tied to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Chin, come on, man. You know that's not DIE. It's supposed to be DEI, not DIE. But it seems like the more things are DEI, the more they seem to DIE, die. So, with all the reports about falling safety and stock prices at Boeing being tied to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the same in the cockpits and ATC Is this an orchestrated attack on the airlines to restrict our mobility? I'll tell you what, brother, it is exactly that. It's not, see, a lot of times the agenda of the extreme leftist scumbags up in DC, it's not just one thing. They can cause an accident. They can cause a tragedy. And whether the solution is this way or that way, either way, it supports and promotes more government and more power. And it takes away our economy, our strength, our wealth, our freedoms. They'll play both sides and take control in any issue. So, Boeing, massive airline, right? These 737 Max has just been a nightmare. Crashing, fucking side ripped off a plane the other day. Not looking good. And diversity, equity, inclusion is being blamed for it. Putting, shall we say, inexperienced, incompetent, unqualified people in positions of authority to both engineer and make decisions. Big problem. Now, another problem here is trying to save money. Trying to make planes as cheap and shit, inexpensive as possible. Not good. Not good. I was having a thought the other day with regard to airframes from the past. The attacks being leveled at the Yemenis, the Houthis. They're using F-18 Super Hornets. The F-A-18 Super Hornets. Am I correct on nailing that plane's down? It's got a bunch of other letters. It's not LGBTQIA, but it is the Super Hornet, which is an old design. They got an upgrade, and they're using that in military operations. What happened to the F-22? What happened to the F-36? What happened to all these super cool fighter bombers, stealth fighter? Why are we going back to the F-A-18 Super Hornets? I when I was a Marine, I saw a F-4 Phantom land in Cherry Point, North Carolina. And that's a Vietnam era fighter jet. And it was just amazing to see something that old still working. But then again, I was watching A6s, two-man A6 and the four-man A6 were flying. And they looked like they were from the 1950s. I'm pretty sure they were. In fact, I was talking to a Marine a couple of weeks ago, and he said they still have the Cobra attack helicopters in the Marine Corps, another attack helicopter from Vietnam, still in service. These old designs, these old airframes are still good, whereas today they can't seem to make a fighter jet that can fly through a rainstorm without, crashing in North Carolina. Can't make a subsonic, that means less than the speed of sound, commercial aircraft that can take off and land safely and have the airframe not come ripping apart at safe traveling speeds. And I do believe that, yes, the pilot operator error is still a big deal. Did everyone forget about that stealth fighter? Was that the F-35 or F-36? I can't remember. The one that flew upside down for a couple hundred miles and crashed. The pilot punched out even though the canopy was still on top. Anyways, ridiculous, stupid shit. The government can't get their story straight. I do think that they're trying to make air travel seem unsafe, scary, so people won't want to travel. And they're going to raise prices because of fuel, lack of qualified pilots. They need to do that too. So it's more expensive and seems scary, so people won't. They'll just be satisfied with living in their little hovels. It's interesting. It's very interesting to see where they're taking all of this. Oh, by the way, John F. Kerry has resigned as Biden's climate czar. Big news in the position that never really existed. He's just been getting paid for years to fly around and tell everyone, you don't get to fly around anymore. Carbon bad. It is an orchestrated attack, not just on the airlines, Chin Music, but everyone and everything. Everyone and everything. What a world. It's great. It really is crazy stuff, folks. Thank you, Jolene. Okay, let's do it. Let's step into a couple other topics. If you've got something you want to talk about, super chat donation up there. Super chat donation up there. And you can get your comments up here. Boy, those scotches are working. Okay. American politics at its highest level. The President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, says, "This is the United States of America, for God's sake." Well, if someone had an exclamation like that, especially the President of the United States, you would think that the topic had to do with national security or alien international security, whether we're talking about south of the border or UFOs. The government, through its mouthpiece, the president, says, "This is the United States of America, for God's sake." You would think it would have something to do with the war or the economy. But no, folks, Joe Biden, President of the United States, said, "This is the United States of America, for God's sake." He was pissed off because sexually explicit pornographic material is being banned from schools. That got him mad. Never mind the open border, where millions of illegals are coming into our country. Never mind all the stupid shit they're doing in Europe to push for war with Russia. Joe Biden is pissed off that children aren't being exposed to homosexual, sexual material, pornography. The woke LGBTQI gender swap screwball thinking mentality. Folks, Democrats are 100% backward on morality and law. They are unbelievably sick. We've got that to fight in SHTF as well. Get your super chat donation in, get your question on the board. If you want to talk, it is January 14th, 2024. And folks, it is nasty out there. Now, the problem isn't just an American problem. Let's take a look at Europe. In Europe, they have a Trump-type character. He is the Polish prime minister. And I don't know if I want to call him a Trump-type character. Maybe he's more like, fuck it, I don't know. Let me tell you what he's done, and you tell me what kind of character he is. His name is Tusk. And he is chasing after his adversaries. He has said he's going to ignore a judge's decision, a judicial decision, because he wants to prosecute a former central bank governor. The central bank governors, folks, the banks, the national banks, the big private banks, they're full of thieves and wolves and viperous snakes also. So it's interesting, folks, in my opinion, as the system comes down, these wolves are going to continue to attack one another. So the Polish prime minister, yeah, he's going to attack. He's not happy, right? They're all injured. They're all hurt. But over in Hungary, maybe I should say Viktor Orban, maybe he is more like a Trump-type character. And they're hunting him, right? There are now 120 globalist European lawmakers. If they're not attacking people in their own country, they're attacking countries that don't want to play along with their agenda. So 120 European legislators, they want to punish Hungary. They want to go after Hungary. They want to take away Hungary's voting rights in the European Union. Can you imagine being a tax-paying country, a tax-paying state, a taxpayer, and the government, the overarching big government says, we don't like the way you think, so we're going to take away your right to vote. You'd be like, wait a minute, am I not part of this union? Am I not part of this country called America? Am I not a taxpayer? Says Viktor Orban to the European Union. Am I not a taxpayer in America? But the country wants to take voting away from me. They want to make sure my vote doesn't count. They're doing the same thing to an entire country in the European Union because they don't like the way Viktor Orban votes. He does not want Ukraine to get membership there in the European Union. So there's a big lesson that we all have in this. Big lesson. Here is our lesson. The European Union and Washington, D.C., they lie. They don't really want democracy, folks, even though they keep saying Trump is going to destroy democracy. They don't want democracy, which says there is a right to vote and the vote is counted, right? Isn't that what democracy is? The people choosing, the people voting? Well, since Viktor Orban and the nation of Hungary, since they don't sell themselves to the princes of Babylon at the World Economic Forum, then Hungary and Orban must be destroyed. They must be removed. Orban must be silenced or replaced. Do you now feel better about the form of democracy that we keep hearing about from Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and the Democrats in the Senate? They keep saying Trump is trying to destroy democracy. So what is this form of democracy that they want? What does the World Economic Forum, the European Union, and Washington, D.C., what do they want? They want a democracy that they control all the votes on and they decide for us and then tell us we voted for it. Right? They don't want democracy. They want a technocracy where everyone thinks they're voting for something. Now, Trump does want to destroy that form of democracy that they call democracy. Right? The same way they're afraid that Viktor Orban is going to ruin their democracy by not giving them what they want. Trump, folks, scares the shit out of these people. That's why I can't believe that he is actually the bad guy. And I continually go back and forth with this, and we all discuss it. Uman discusses it. We all discuss it. This thing, is Trump the good guy or is Trump just playing us? Are we being played? And again, I'll ask the question, if Trump was a bad guy pretending to be a good guy, so it looks like there's a fight going on, a fight to protect America, the Constitution, a fight to remind people about the Declaration of Independence, our freedoms and our rights. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that all of the fighting is waking people up to the fact that there is a Constitution and that there is a Declaration of Independence and that our rights are real? Because if we didn't have Trump, who would we have? Mitt Romney or some other sellout Republican running for president who wouldn't even be questioned as, one of us, right? They would just continue to sell us out. Another George W. Bush, right? Or a Mitch McConnell or some soft, limp Kevin McCarthy type guy who wants to go along to get along, and they're satisfied with enriching themselves at everyone else's expense. That's what they would, I think, prefer, so they wouldn't have to fight. They wouldn't have to feel threatened. Well, it's great. I think the Democrats are extremely threatened by Trump. The Democrats are extremely threatened by you, and their third party has now joined the fight. The pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist, pro-Palestinian left-wing lunatics are taking aim at all politicians, including the Democrats, and in some cases, especially the Democrats. Now, if the Hamas people, the protest supporters of Hamas, if they are the enemy of the Democrats, is it right to say the enemy of my enemy, Joe Biden, is my friend? I'm sorry to say the answer is no. I consider them both enemies. Democrats are the enemies of the Constitution and our liberties, and so are the pro-Hamas scumbags. It's just they think they're going to fight with each other over control of the country. I think that they've left out, the American people who are well-armed, well-trained, well-seasoned, well-educated, and know what this country is supposed to be about. It's going to be a hell of a shit show, folks. You've got front seat to it because you know how to look at everything, all the news out there, and decide for yourself what is going on. And I want to say we're doing really great on this show. 366 people live, and we are almost 1 hour into the show. That's way Joe Biden, folks, can't get 200 people for 5 minutes or less. We get hundreds of people for hours at a time on this channel because the information is important. So be sure and hit the thumbs up. Be sure and take that internet address out there and zip it off to friends. You can text it, email it. I don't care if you write it on a note and use a carrier pigeon to get it to your friends, family, coworkers, everyone. It is time to start protecting our country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And this is incredible. Are you ready for this? You want a domestic enemy of our country? Who do you think I'm going to talk about next? You think I'm going to talk about all of the liberal communists in the Pentagon? No, not doing it. You think I'm going to talk about Washington, D.C.? Nope, not doing it. How about the governors of all the liberal states that want to get rid of the ammunition out there? Well, they are the enemies of our country, and I'm not going to talk about them as a domestic enemy at this time. You know what I'm going to talk about? Doctors, physicians. Folks, the American Academy of Pediatrics have released an article. They've put it out in the public. They've let everyone know that laws that stop children, kids, from trans care is considered medical neglect. They're rewriting at the American Academy of Pediatrics what neglect is and isn't, what treatment is and isn't. They're saying that laws banning turning kids into eunuchs or using chemicals to screw with their bodies and brains, that if you don't do that to them, then you are committing neglect. That's quite a fucking statement. You're going to give kids drugs that screw up their development as mental, physical, and reproductive health by giving them hormones. Now, doctors used to take the Hippocratic Oath. They used to take the Hippocratic Oath, which said they are to do no harm. All these kids that are getting their genitals cut off, little girls getting their breasts cut off, literally cut off, removed, being fed hormones that counteract what their bodies want to do. So a girl's body starts developing as a man's body, even though their body's rejecting it all the way. It's essentially a civil war within these children's bodies. These are children. And same with boys, right? They want to cut their nuts off, cut off their penis, and turn into a girl and be given drugs so they can grow breasts. And then they turn into little violent psychopaths, and they hate everybody or they hate themselves and commit suicide. Doctors used to take a Hippocratic Oath. Now it's a hypocritical oath, since they cause harm. They mislead their patients, and they lie to us for money. Doctors now lie for cash. Doctors now ignore science and have created false science. Doctors now kill their patients rather than cure their patients. Doctors are not gods, folks. They never were. And they are definitely domestic enemies if they believe in this shit. If you go see a physician, ask them questions. Find out their politics. Even if you're not, you go in there, you're not a kid. You go in there and say, hey, doc, before you put your finger somewhere in or on my body, I need you to answer some questions. Do you think it's good for children to take gender, shall we say, affirming hormones that aren't natural? In other words, should little boys be made into little girls because they said so? Should little girls be made into little boys should they said so? Because children, you can't get tattoos. You're not competent and capable of determining what's best for your body. So the law says no tattoos for kids. But they can be trusted to determine whether they're a girl or boy. Oh, yeah, they know better. They can change their entire life and destroy their bodies because, they're kids and they know better. Kids aren't allowed to have guns, that's for sure. Kids aren't allowed to drink alcohol until they're 21. But if they want to cut their nuts off or cut off their tits, that's just fine. And doctors are now pushing this. Not just, folks, not just out of their mind Democrat psychologists and psychiatrists, but physicians. And in this case, it is the American Academy of Pediatrics. Doctors are not gods, never were. Question them. And remember this little history lesson for you. Hundreds of years ago, going back through history, doctors were considered emissaries of the angel of death. If you were sick and you were visited by a doctor, typically people would die. So they're like, no doctors. You keep the doctors away from me. My body will heal itself, recover itself, take care of disease, etc. Get that doctor away from me. You would be shocked at what doctors did to George Washington on his deathbed. So for centuries, doctors have tried to clean up their image. They got to the 1900s, the 20th century, and they have modern medicine, pharmaceuticals, painkillers, surgical procedures that help save lives. And here we are, folks, 100 years later, they've come full circle, the doctors have, making money off death, bringing death to the masses, scaring the population into rejecting them, doctors, as liars and murderers. I'm sure there's good doctors out there, folks. I'm sure there are. I know a couple. Just like I've known a couple decent lawyers in my lifetime. But boy, can you trust your doctor? Do you really know who they are? I would ask them, do you think children should get gender-changing surgeries? Do you think children should make that decision? I think of it as child abuse and a whole lot of bad things. I think about it as human mutilation and a lot of other things. Anyways, it's your show, folks. It's Sunday Night Live. If you've got something to say, pow, hit that super chat button and bring up your topic. I want to talk more about this country and how it is just falling apart at the seams. There is an American imam up in either Wisconsin or Minnesota. I can't remember which. Doesn't matter. He's another American imam. That is a radical Muslim cleric, priest, whatever an imam is to them, a spiritual leader. And he says all Jews will be killed by Muslims. Now, here's a quote from this imam, who, by the way, is a black man. He says, our brothers in Gaza are heroes. By Allah, they are warriors, heroes, they are men, just like the companions. They do not fear death. And if they don't fear death, why don't we see them committing huge acts of terror in America? Don't worry, it's coming. Right? He's accused Jews of being criminal. And this is what he says about Jews. And he said a lot more than what I'm going to share with you. We need to understand who these people are, folks. The radical people are bad. He says, by Allah, all of them, meaning Jews, will be killed by Muslims. They all will be executed by Muslims. They will all be killed. This is a divine promise that will inevitably be fulfilled. This is a promise from Allah, and it is going to happen. They will all be killed. They will all be killed, and on that day, the believers will rejoice in Allah's victory. If I was Jewish, I would be a little bit concerned. I'm concerned as a Christian because I don't think that they'll be satisfied just killing all the Jews. I think these radical, wacko, crazy, religious, dumb sons of bitches, I think that they would come after Christians as soon as they're done with the Jews, if not at the same time. Now, get this, folks. I'm glad he said these words so that Jews wake up in America and realize you're in trouble. You better get prepared. I want Christians to wake up and realize you're in trouble. You had better get prepared. Folks, free speech, I'm all for it. I'm all for these imams, for these radical, crazy bastards out there. Not just the religious ones, but the ones who want to admit all the crimes they do in the world, like Joe Biden. He loved admitting that he withheld funds from going to Ukraine years ago when he was vice president, unless his son was allowed to go free and the investigations were to stop on Hunter. Anyways, I'm all for free speech. I'm all for allowing these people tell us what their crimes are and are going to be. But I say to these people out here, whether they're government scumbags or whether they're radical religious freaks, lift a finger, harm a soul, attack anyone, and those people should be shot on sight. And anyone that supports them should be rounded up as co-conspirators, don't you think? Or am I being too radical? Right? Would the government listen to what I have to say and say, "Ooh, that John guy, he's kind of a radical. He says that people that support, like the pro-Palestine terrorist supporters that love Hamas, they call for the destruction of Israel and all Jews. They are co-conspirators." Right? I mean, isn't calling for violence a crime called incitement? I mean, where is Merrick Butlick Garland, the Attorney General? Where are you? You see, the government wants to use them as a distraction, use them as their alley bashers, their brown shirts. Everyone is being split off into a group, folks. I'm in the group back here that likes this flag, the American flag. I'm in the group that likes patriots and patriotic Americans. That's the side I've decided to choose. I hope you pick a side that is good. I really do. And I know you have. Folks, we're up to 377 people live right now. Thank you for sharing that address with them up there. Thank you for hitting that thumbs up. Thank you for the great super chats. We've got more to talk about, folks. Not even close to being done. Until this voice is toast, I was doing lots of yelling last night, lots of singing. Oh, it was a good time. I actually felt like I was back in the 80s. Thank you, Jolene. I felt like I was back in the 80s. It was incredible. A good time. It helped me forget all of this shit that we're talking about. And I wasn't trying to escape reality, folks. I wasn't trying to escape reality. What I was trying to do is just give myself a break, knowing I'd come back full swing tonight with you guys. Jolene, who's up next? Super chat time. What do we got? Holy cow, it's Penny B with a $53 super chat donation. She says, "Happy Cake Day, John." Thank you, Penny, so much. There it is, folks. They're going to 53 years down. I'm into my 54th now. 54 years old. Whoa. I almost poured that in the wrong glass. I'd never get that one filled. Woo! This is the one right here with a 308 in it. Thank you so much. And here we go. Folks, God bless America. Semper Fi. Thank you, Penny. Good golly. Thank you so much for that one. Woo! The Glenfiddich 18. So smooth. It's loosening the gears. All righty. Thank you, Penny. And folks, how do you feel? In this country, do you feel safe? Do you feel comfortable? Now, you may say, I feel perfectly safe. I feel perfectly comfortable. A lot of people don't. Now, in New York City, there is a citizen there that says that He fears. The fear in New York City is palpable. Meaning you can sense it, right? It's like saying, man, you can cut the tension with a knife. You can feel it out there. And he's talking about how that's real and that the disorder and the decay is just everywhere in New York City. And you know who said this? You know what citizen said this? A retired NYPD officer said that. So he's coming from a world where there was law and order, where it didn't matter if you were a Democrat or Republican. You break the law, you go to jail. Where you weren't allowed to push people onto train tracks or walk by and bash someone in the head because you don't like the way they look. Everybody went to jail and stayed there. It was New York City, right? And in the 70s, it was a crime capital of the world, folks. Well, Chicago's got that title now. But New York, they won it back, I guess. When you don't feel safe walking down the street, folks, and you're a retired policeman, look out. Look out. Anyways, think about it, folks. Do you feel safe where you live? Are you Jewish? Are you Christian? Are you white? Are you black? Are you Hispanic? Are you Asian? Do you feel safe? If you don't feel safe, there's a political problem. If you don't feel safe, you need to take action to protect yourself. All right. Jolene says there's another super chat out there. What do we got next? Who is up? And it is, oh, good golly, it's Mr. Skylight. Woo! With a $99.99 super chat donation. And Mr. Skylight, I want to thank you for the great birthday memes you've been sending me this weekend. Lots of good stuff, making me laugh out loud and spit coffee out through my nose. Thank you so much. And typically, we're doing only one, man, only one for $99.99. I do too much. I'm going to be screwed up now. I'm not working tomorrow. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I am taking it off. I'm going to recover from what you guys have been doing to me tonight and what I did to myself last night. Anyways, Mr. Skylight, here's to you. God bless. Semper Fi. Keep fighting. Speak the truth when you see it. Point out the lies when you see it. Help others recognize they're in trouble. God bless America. Man, I tell you, doing shots with you guys is rough. Anyways, Mr. Skylight is famous for his great quotes. And tonight, he says, security without liberty is called prison. That was from Benjamin Franklin, folks. Benjamin Franklin, way back in the 1700s. 50 years. I mean, we've all seen pictures of Benjamin Franklin, right? He's got hair around the sides and none on top, likes to wear little glasses, likes to wear that three-sided freaking hat on his head and fly a kite in the lightning storm. That guy, well, he was a great inventor. He was also a statesman. He was a diplomat. He tried getting England to knock their shit off. He was in the media. He was alternative media in America. He had an underground, top secret newspaper he used to write in, right? Back in the 1720s, 50 years before the Declaration of Independence, he was complaining about the government violating their rights and stealing from the people, etc. In other words, he'd been around. Security without liberty is called prison. I don't want security. I want my rights. Right? Liberty, freedom, my rights. I can create my own security, and with people like all of you around me, we provide security for one another. Now, police, sheriffs, state police, troopers, whatever you want to call them, they are there to supplement us, not to control us. They are there to administrate the law. And what have they turned into? a bunch of prison guards telling us what to do, penalizing us, arresting us, and taking away what little liberty we have. That's what the police are doing for us. Not so good. Now, there are some good cops. There are some good sheriffs in this country. In fact, in Illinois, the sheriffs there, by and large, a massive percentage of them are telling the state of Illinois to go fuck itself. They will not enforce their unconstitutional violation of people's rights, and they will not confiscate weapons or arrest anyone over weapons violations from Governor Pricksters and the absolutely awful legislature's gun restriction laws. Now, Mr. Skylight says, happy birthday, brother. Congratulations on another circle around the sun. Woo! I tell you. I tell you, that is weird. I'm as old. I'm the same age as old people now. But I tell you what, at the birthday party, it was quite interesting. You know, the crowd still parts for me, even though I'm old. Right? People still are like, damn, and they just step out of the fucking way. And I'm like, hey, it's all cool. High-fiving people. You know, in fact, in the video, I think you saw that one guy just walk up after they sang happy birthday. A biker wearing Harley Davidson jacket. Let's see what let's take a look at that again. This guy here,
you guys are really super generous. You guys spoil us.
Anyways, it was really cool. Americans, man, Americans. They're just happy to be there having fun. It felt like old America at that point. Folks, it felt like old America. Unlike the new America we're dealing with, right? Here's an example of what's going on. There's a prosecutor, and he's insisting that he's going to convict a Christian lawmaker of hate. Now, what's interesting is this prosecutor is in Finland. And there's a lawmaker, a legislator, who is trying to write what they want, and they quoted the Bible. And this is what they said. Quote, the state's insistence on continuing this prosecution, despite such a clear and unanimous ruling by both the Helsinki District Court and the Court of Appeals, is alarming. Incredible. They tried prosecuting this lady for quoting the Bible. She won in district court, and then she won in the Court of Appeals. The next stop, Supreme Court. They have a very similar system as far as structure in Europe. Enough that we can talk about it and we can relate to American courts. So he continues, dragging people through the courts for years, subjecting them to hour-long police interrogations, and wasting taxpayer money to police people's deeply held beliefs has no place in a democratic society. As is so often the case in hate speech trials, the process has become the punishment. Now, folks, in European nations, in Canada too, where there's no First Amendment, there's no free speech like we have in the USA. Over in Europe, the World Economic Forum, and then in Canada also, the prosecutors, the social regulators, they're trying to destroy what little free speech they have, what little they're allowed. They want to stop all criticisms. And they want to show American prosecutors what language is allowed and what lies need to be told to persuade courts. Remember, Trump is being prosecuted by fat-ass Fannie Willis's boy toy down in Georgia because he said there was fraud in the election. That's what they're trying to prosecute him for. Free speech, folks, is free speech. They're coming after it. It doesn't feel very American when I read stories like this about, well, other countries around the world, but certainly in our country, when you can't say what you want. But a radical, jihad-loving Muslim fruitcake can threaten to kill every Jew. These radical, anti-European, anti-white, anti-American fruitcakes in America, they want to tell you that all white people are white supremacists, Nazis, and that anything we have to say is just not good. It's crazy, folks. So here we are. It is, it's the birthday zoo. Woohoo! Let us continue. Jolene, who's up next? What do we got? We have Orlando, brother Orlando coming. The $5 super chat donation. You hit that button, you get your questions, thoughts, concerns, predictions, prognostications, and historical quotes in. It's Orlando. He says, "Happy birthday, brother. Semper Fi," and God bless you, man. Semper Fi. He says, God bless you and wish you many more. I've done just about everything in life that can be done, short of winning the struggle to create freedom and liberty for everyone in the country. Let's see, the other thing I haven't done is sail a boat around the Caribbean like a Pirates of the Caribbean, or gone through the Panama Canal. There's just a couple things on my bucket list that are left. Not much more. And so I'm willing to die trying, folks, to free this country up. You bet. I'm telling you. All right, Orlando, thank you, brother. And then keep fighting, man. Never give up. I hope that in 10 years I feel as good as I do today, because I don't want to feel worse. But we got to stay in good shape. Exercise, eat right, take vitamins. Don't take Jim Jones juice. Don't listen to Dr. Fauci. Don't listen to Joe Biden. Keep the faith. Okay, Jolene, what do we got next? We've got Chin Music with a $9.99 super chat donation. He says, "Hey, found out where Mayor Petey has been. He was spotted on the set of NBC's new blockbuster series, Real Housewives of DC. The ridicule will continue until morale improves." I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't know. I mean, Mayor Petey is I mean, he had some good nicknames. Ooh, man, I know you had some favorite nicknames for little Mayor Petey and his boyfriend husband. Which one was your favorite, man? My favorite was the one that the president had when he called him Juicy Booty. No, Booty Juice. With Real Housewives. That was awesome, man. All right, now I got to get my shit together here. This country's gone to shit. Let's play a little bit in Illinois. The state of Illinois is battling with California and New York to see who is the most fucked up. Did you know that Chicago, the public schools there, have lost $23 million. $23 million worth of free laptops. How do you lose free laptops? In other electronic devices, like I guess pads and gizmos. I don't even know what the fuck they got out there anymore, but $23 million in 1 year. That wasn't the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. In 1 year, $23 million. Corruption in Democrat cities in Democrat states is off the hook at every level of government, whether it's education, the military, the legal system. It is absolutely corrupt, and they're all robbing us blind as they bring everything down. Now, this one gets me here. Right? In Illinois. Oh, no, you don't. Get back here. In Illinois, Governor Pritzker, right, is a pile of crap, and he's destroying the state. Well, guess what? He came out and he is now begging literally Governor Abbott of Texas to stop busing illegals up to Illinois. And this is an actual quote, because the state is absolutely broke, being the crime capital, being the drug capital, the murder capital of the country, Chicago, Illinois. They've screwed the people over. Chicago is a huge financial state, like California, like New York. Chicago is huge. He says, I plead with you for mercy. He begs for mercy, folks, from Texas to stop sending illegals. Folks, Governor Pritzker is the consummate sack of shit, fat ass politician. It is Biden's policies that are bringing the illegals into Texas. Abbott is just taking these people that Biden allowed in and said, get the fuck out of my state, right? In fact, he's trying to stop that now with the Texas National Guard securing the border. But Abbott is taking the ones that are in and he's sending them to sanctuary cities. Hey, into sanctuary states. Pritzker, you want to be a sanctuary? Well, you got it. But it's funny to me how he begs for mercy from Abbott, but he won't go to the source of the problem, who is in Washington, D.C. Folks, by the way, 397 people live right now. We're continuing to gain viewers as the show goes on. Share that internet address. Thumbs up if you just showed up. We've got a lot to talk about, and you will want to back the video up to the very beginning and watch it all. Now, when it comes to Pritzker, he's like, hey, I'm begging you for mercy. Oh, really? Right? Why don't you use your own money from your own billionaire bank accounts and your family, Pritzker, to help your state out? No. That's not how it works, folks. Now, but ask the question, is Governor Abbott supposed to let Texas keep all those illegals there? Should Texas be destroyed because Biden has that policy? Or should Pritzker go to Biden and say, stop letting people in the country because they're getting sent to my state and it's destroying our state? What does he think this is doing to Texas? Texas is being destroyed as we speak. And Abbott is doing all he can to use these socialist morons' ideas of equality, equally sharing. Hey, you need your fair share, don't you, Pritzker? Enjoy your democratic values, you moron. And it's just going to get better, folks. Or should I say, it's just going to get nastier. It truly is. It truly is. Are you ready for more? If you've got something to say, if you've got an idea, super chat button right up there and we will get to it. And there it is. Pow. Jolene says, we got one. Pow. Super chat donation. And it is Heidi with a $10 super chat donation. Now, again, you got something to say, it's right up here. If you want to do live video every week, 1 hour, Monday through Friday, go to thepreparedmind.club, sign up as a premium member, and you can talk to me Monday through Friday, as well as coming on here Sunday. Now, let's continue with Heidi's thoughts. She says, can you make a guess as to how long until people realize that justice is dead? And the only way to fix it is to break the law. Folks keep trying to follow the rules. Now, this is an interesting observation and a choice of terminology that Heidi's using. Can I make a guess as to how long until people realize justice is dead? The answer to that, I think the vast majority of Americans, I'm going to say 70%, Heidi, already know that justice is dead. But allow me to explain. I think probably 40 to 50% of the country, the Republicans, think that justice is dead. We're watching Hunter Biden, snort coke off of hookers' asses, break drug laws, weighing drugs, arguing about the value, speeding down the highway over 100 miles an hour, getting to Vegas, right? Shaking down foreign politicians in Russia, Ukraine for money to get to the big guy, doing deals in China with his good buddies, his uncle, his dad, getting more money for the big guy. And he's, violated gun laws. He took a handgun, threw it in a garbage can. That's illegal. You're not supposed to do that. That's a crime. He's in trouble right now for violating tax law. I believe there could be child pornography on the laptop that he left at a computer dealer. He is a dumbass. He is now committed, contempt of Congress. I would love for Congress to say, John, we need you to come up and talk to us. Come on up. We need to get your opinion, buddy. I would love to come up there if they want to subpoena me and pay for my airline ticket. But folks, in fact, I'll tell you what. I would not testify before Congress unless they gave me 100% immunity and a bona fide ironclad guarantee that I wouldn't be arrested and thrown in the gulag, that I would be safely returned to my southern outpost when I was finished with them. That would be enforceable by an entire army of retired, shall we say, veterans. Anyways, justice is dead. Now, I said all of the Republicans know that, and folks, half the Democrats realize it too. That's why I said 70%. We already know that justice is dead. Now, the second part of your question. Well, since it's dead, the only way to fix it is to break the law. Well, unfortunately for the Democrats, the socialists, the World Economic Forum, Washington, D.C., that to fix the problem with justice being dead, we do not have to break the law. We will violate statutes, but the law, folks, is the U.S. Constitution. The law is the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence told us, authorized us as people of the country, that this is our country, that our freedoms and liberties must be guaranteed by the government. And when they fail to do that, when they commit all the egregious crimes that are in the Declaration of Independence and anything new that they want to invent to throw on top of that, that we have a right and a duty to overthrow that government and set in place new government with restrictions to protect our futures, our liberties, our property, our lives, our wealth, our families, etc. So if we have to break the law, that means we're trying to fix the law. Americans do have to realize the only way at some point, because justice is dead. The legislature is failed. The presidency is failed. The courts have failed. Prosecutors have failed. Law enforcement has failed. Look at what's going on in our country. You got imams threatening to murder every Jew. You've got Democrats elected, Democrats in media, Democrats on the news saying that you and I need to be thrown in re-education camps, death camps, work camps, concentration camps, period. And Heidi says, hey, folks keep trying to follow the rules. Yes, we keep thinking that if the system is good, that the system is right, that if we keep following the rules, working real hard, paying our taxes, voting during the election, being good people, not criminals, that'll fix everything. Well, in a just country where the government is obeying the law, that does work. Now, justice is dead. So what are the politicians doing about it? They're fighting to see who gets to control the system. Justice is dead for the Democrats, they think, when Trump is in office. So they're going to have to fight. And the Democrats are fighting to maintain control of this corrupt, broken system because then it serves them. As long as they think it's serving them, they couldn't give a fuck if justice is dead. And therein lies the danger, the peril that we all face. Great, great topic, Heidi. Thank you again. Whew. Finished off that hot toddy that after an hour and 35 minutes is no longer hot, but delicious. All right. Shoot, I don't even know where we're at. Jolene, sending you a little question mark there. Okay. Folks, this is your show. We're at an hour and 36 minutes now. We're going to go to the 2-hour mark, and or later if you guys want to keep on chatting. That just the only way I know that you want to keep chatting is super chat donations up there, and I've got more stuff right here for you guys. Right? We have some serious problems in this country. The system is broken. The federal government is just out of control, incompetent. Here is an example, folks. In Los Angeles, there is a national cemetery where 90,000 Americans are buried. Heroes. Heroes, folks. It is a national cemetery, meaning military heroes are buried. They're laid to rest. And it was defaced by anti-Israel, pro-Palestine scumbags. They love terrorists and they hate America. They spray painted crap all over the entrance, the memorial wall there, memorializing Americans who gave their lives. They sprayed, folks, "Free Gaza." What do American veterans have to do with Gaza? Dead Americans who have fought and died for this country. Why deface the Los Angeles National Cemetery? They also sprayed Intifada, right? Intifada. Intifada. And they spray painted an upside down red arrow, whatever the fuck that means. This is what they think, folks. They don't care. Everything, if you don't support their belief system, you're the enemy. They're going after European politicians. They're going after American politicians. They're even attacking the dead who can't make a decision or change anything. These are American heroes, folks. Now, I've got a suggestion for Gaza. Free Gaza? Maybe Gaza should free itself from terrorist control before they go out and criticize the world. As for the resting souls of our veterans, folks, the more these idiots attack all of us, me and you, good Americans, they are going to awaken the fighting spirit for freedom in this country. The more Joe Biden leaves the border down south, oh yeah, justice is dead, the system is broken, it's waking people up. That is good. In fact, there was an article out, one of the January 6th hostages, one of the Americans who broke no laws that really matter, said that walking into Congress is trespassing. Anyways, this guy, his name's Jake Lang, and he said patriots are turning the table on the Department of Justice. And he thought about it, 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 and he gives this quote. Understand this. He says, quote, "God is using us to wake up tens of millions of Americans." And I think it's true. We are waking up. Americans are waking up to the threat of Washington, D.C. and the fact that everything, folks, I would go as far as to say 95% of the crimes committed against American colonists by King George are now being committed against us, the people, by Washington, D.C. What they're doing at the southern border, what these foreign illegals that are here that are violating our rights and demanding the death of all Jews. It's going to happen, folks. God is using these people to wake up that's his faith. But I say it's true. The tragic suffering has to happen before people realize the system is broke. It is now so broke that we are seeing the tragic suffering. And so we, as patriots, must use it to reveal the evil where it exists, whether it's these radical, murderous religious people or the radical, murderous secular governments. Whether they murder in the name of their deity or whether they murder in the name of their own deity, they are all awful, awful people, folks. They're evil, absolutely evil. And we all do need to wake up. Just wake up. It continues, folks. These people, let's pick on the pro-Palestinian, pro-terrorist types. Did you know that over the weekend here, they have tried to breach, that is, gain entry into the White House? They went to the security fence and started shaking the ever-loving shit out of it. Why is that not insurrection or attempted violent takeover of the White House? If people walking into Congress is insurrection, if people walking into Congress is an attempt to take over the country, then why isn't people trying to violently gain access to the White House? Why isn't that insurrection? But understand this, folks. The violence is going to grow. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Doubt me? Doubt me not. Then prepare when you figure out what the hell is going on. Or do you doubt me and you continue to doubt me? Take your chances, folks, with terrorist supporters. Their threats are real. They want to commit acts of violence. Remember BLM. Remember Antifa. Remember critical race theory. Remember drag queen story hour for children. These people are attacking us everywhere. They're destroying the military. They're wasting all of our military hardware by giving it to Ukraine, who either shoot it into the ground or sell it on the black market. Big trouble, folks. You know what I think? I think they want to use all ammunition and, of course, deny you ammunition. They want to use all artillery. They want all of America's military destroyed. You want to know why? Because they're afraid that if they lose it, that we will use it on them. That the military could turn on the government. Every disgusting, filthy socialist government that has existed in the last 100 years, more than 100 years now, when they take control of the government, the first thing they do is use their muscle to take control, and then they kill their own military. Russia took control, became the communist socialist Soviet Union. Then Stalin killed off half his military, his officers, because he was afraid of getting overthrown. Destroyed their own military, which almost cost them the war against Germany in World War II. Hitler took control, used his little scumbags, just like Russia used scumbags. Then he got rid of his military and put the SS out there, right, as the military. They got rid of one military, the patriotic one, and replaced it with their own. Sick, demented, twisted, fucked up military. How about China? Well, when they took control in the People's Liberation Movement, well, they got rid of the military, and now they have the PLA, the People's Liberation Army. In this country, they're destroying the military, folks. They're turning it into a gay laughing stock, and they'll destroy it. They'll destroy it. They're afraid of patriots, Marine soldiers, real patriots. They don't like us, folks. They'll destroy it. They will. Now, and they're going to blame us for it. They're going to blame you and me for everything, folks. If you're pro-liberty, pro-freedom, they're going to blame it. Are you prepared for what's coming? Biden, folks, is a sack of shit. He is a liar. And he is overdue for removal from office by impeachment or vote or everything. His legacy is the abandonment of Afghanistan. Biden's legacy is the southern border invasion. Biden's legacy is funding and arming Ukraine's Nazis. Literally, that's his legacy. Can you believe that shit? And he says this about Republicans who are now trying to stand up to him. He says, quote, if my Republican colleagues don't fund Ukraine, they're going to have an awful lot to pay for. Just what the hell does that mean, Biden? If Republicans in Congress, that is the House and the Senate, do not give him money to give to Voldemort Zelensky, then the Republicans are going to have an awful lot to pay for. What does that mean? Russia does not have expansionist ideas. They're exporting fuel, coal, gas, oil, nuclear fuel rods. They're exporting to the world a lot, and they are becoming stronger and more wealthy. Do you think Vladimir Putin wants to take over Ukraine and the Czech Republic and Hungary and Romania and have to put up with fight? He can barely beat Ukraine without using nukes, but he's doing it. He can't take on the world, and he doesn't want to, I don't think, and he doesn't have to. But he does reserve those nukes, doesn't he? He's reserving that Tsar bomb, which is the biggest nuclear weapon ever created. And I wouldn't want to push him on that. He could light up the entire country with that shit. Forget it. Now, so if we're not supposed to be worried about the Russians, what are the Republicans going to have an awful lot to pay for? Is he threatening and saying Biden, is going to commit a terrorist act on this country? And the Republicans are going to be responsible because they didn't give him what he wanted? They, meaning the Republicans, are going to have an awful lot to pay for? Or is he saying that American boys and girls are going to be sent over to fight Russia because we wouldn't give them money? He is such a complete fucking idiot, folks. He truly is. Right now, Voldemort Zelensky, not Vladimir Putin, but Voldemort Zelensky, is struggling with irrelevance. No one gives a shit. No one supports them. And as more violence takes place in Israel and Gaza, as the Yemen Houthis decide they're going to fight in America, it's another new distraction. As China continues to say they're going to take over Taiwan and, reunite it with the Chinese mainland, Zelensky is going to matter less and less and less. So why is Biden demanding that we fund that war? He completely ignored all the threats and the attacks from the Yemenis, the Houthis. And now finally he's bombing them. He allowed it. He encouraged it by doing nothing. And now he's got all kinds of reason to go after him and say, well, they've been bombing the shit out of us. They've been using drones on our military ships. They've made our lives hard. So now we have to go to war with them. He's doing exactly, folks, if you recall. He's doing exactly what Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro, Obama wanted to do. And that is go to war. He was saying, Obama was, right, that he wanted a war with Syria, Libya, Iran, North Korea. He was trying to cause war. He wanted war after war after war. And he didn't get them. But he is now. Because under Biden, we have the war with Russia. We have the war in Israel. And it's involving Syria, Turkey. It's involving Iran. It's involving all manner, just the entire world. And he's trying to encourage and piss off the North Koreans and the Chinese. Now, as far as Voldemort Zelensky goes, he is becoming irrelevant. And the Republicans in Congress are saying, no, we're not going to give you money for that war. But don't worry, folks. Zelensky can create terrorism in Russia and generate new interest. He can have renewed interest in the war over there. All he's got to do is attack the civilian population and piss off Putin enough that he goes after the leadership even greater, and that he attacks even more cities in Western Ukraine. He did that just a couple of weeks ago, did he not? He did. He went after them because they attacked. They keep attacking Russia. They can't win in the battlefield against the army, so they commit acts of terror inside the Russian thing. And so Russia is doing the exact same. They're going after not the people. They're not terroristically attacking the people, though some die. And it's called collateral damage. But Putin was taking out government institutions, training ground, and manufacturing. If I lived in Ukraine, I would not work for the government in a factory that makes military equipment, hardware, munitions, etc. Isn't this amazing how all these people are making money? Companies are making huge money off of these wars. I find it fascinating. Companies are making money and governments are making money for themselves, handing out money and getting their little kickbacks. It's mind-bending that most people, not including you, but most people don't know what the fuck is going on or why, for that matter, things happen the way they do. To re-answer one of the questions from earlier, there are no coincidences. There's no coincidences. You know, from the very top, international, down to national, down to state issues, down to local issues, the war is on. But we, the people, we can win battles. Ultimately, we can win the war against these people. But we, us, me, you, Americans, little people, we have to fight everywhere. Everywhere. And I want to give an example. There was a library promoting leftist sexual ideology that perverts and ruins children's minds. There's an organization called Mass Resistance, and it has been fighting in Wyoming for traditional family, schools. They wanted a moral foundation for society. It's basically said, hey, we kick some ass in a Wyoming library. Right? This library, folks, have been promoting the LGBTQIA plus sex ideologies. It is the religion of wokeism. This is in Wyoming, folks. I think there's maybe 10,000 people in the whole state. And the freaks couldn't leave it alone. It's unbelievable. I know there's more than 10,000 people there, folks. But it's fucking Wyoming. You would think that they wouldn't even try to get into that state. Oh, wait. Yeah, we've got Liz Breath Cheney was supposedly a Republican from Wyoming. I don't think so. Now, this group, Mass Resistance, which is a great title because we are the masses. We are, folks, the majority, the moral majority in this country. Mass Resistance said at the Campbell County Library, they won. Mission accomplished. Because the majority of the board that was left-wing has been kicked out, replaced. The director of the library was fired. And his left-wing, sick, perverted employees left and followed him right out the fucking door. Folks, what we need to do, you and me, all of us, number one, get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, plan. Understand your neighborhood, 10-mile radius around you. Get prepared. Help other people wake up. But what we need to do, folks, to win this is we need to keep exposing these people. Use free speech. Write, call, text, email, everything you can. We need to call, especially to protect the children, right? Call these people out for what they are. They are factually child groomers. They are deviant sex freaks, period. They are the ones who need to be fired, named of their names, run out of the country, right? And go back to wherever the hell these people came from. But we've got that fight. We've got to get control of our counties and cities. We got to get control of our state legislatures, and we've got to keep fighting to get DC under control, or it's lost. And I think that odds are we're going to lose it, and they're going to unleash massive amounts of mayhem in this country. I think odds are that's what they're going to do, but I don't think that means we should stop fighting. We should keep waking people up to the war that they are facing, that we're all facing. And they should. They truly should wake the hell up, because being a prepper is part of that waking up. To protect yourself, your family, your neighborhood, your community, your state. That's incredibly important. And then we fight to take the country back. All right. Jolene says we got a super chat donation as we roll into the end of the show. What's going on? Hey, it's Red. Folks, Red October. He says, happy birthday, my friend. Thank you very much, Red. He was the first man to contact me through the comments and then start communicating with me. Red is one hell of an American. He's a can puncher, folks. Check out his website. He's just a good dude. Thank you very much, Red. I appreciate that, man. I hope all is well down south. You and your family are protected. God bless you, man. All right. Thank you for letting me know Red's out there. And holy cow, Davey D is in with a $76.20, folks. $76.20 super chat donation. He says, I have response and they cower. Is that I have responded and they cower? I hope so, Davey. I hope so. And 7620, folks. Now get this, 762 is the other military caliber that I think is just an atrociously good self-defense tool, right? We got 5.56 and 7.62, aka a 308. And here we are, Davey D. I'm glad you have responded, and I would love to hear them cower. Chin Music lets me know some of the battles he's fighting. A lot of us are out there fighting, and I'm glad you have responded to them. I'm glad the enemy is cowering in front of you. We must crush the enemy, see them driven to before us. Little Conan for you. Semper Fi, man. God bless America. Thank you, Davey D. And down the hatch. Prost. Cheers. Salute. Woo! I'm telling you, smooth, but it is, folks, scotch, man. You drink it like that, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel all warm and tingly. It's medicine, folks, and it'll put courage in you too. I know we shouldn't. Don't drink to make stupid decisions. No. There's a reason they call it a burst of courage. Thank you very much, Davey D. Semper Fi to you, man. We got more. Where are we at? Holy cow, we're at the 2-hour mark. 2-hour mark. Uh-oh. That means the show be over. I got one more topic I want to talk about. If you've got a super chat donation, question, comment, thought, etc., get it in now or forever hold your peace, at least until next Sunday. Now, topic that has been on my mind. It is a very positive topic. The state of Texas decided to tell the government go fuck itself. They kicked federal agents, Border Patrol out of an area, and the Texas National Guard took control. Kicked them the fuck out. And now, folks, the Texas National Guard is stopping illegals from sneaking into this country. I saw footage of them standing on the other side of the barbed wire that has been put up to keep the illegals out where there is not a giant fence. Right now, they're using riot shields to protect themselves in this crisis that Biden has created. I see these illegals. They're probably throwing rocks. They're trying to assault Texas National Guard. That, folks, too, will soon stop. And it needs to stop. You want to show up at the border? You want to throw rocks? You're assaulting Americans. The country you want in, the first fucking thing you do is show up at the border and throw rocks at the military? Are you out of your fucking gourds? Well, I'm sure it's only going to last a short while before Texas says, all right, you've had a chance. You want to attack us, we're going to let you have it. I think, and I'm not saying guns, folks, right? They were shoving kids through this barbed wire, making them come in the country. They'd be all cut up and fucked up, and then they go to a hospital, use our money to get themselves patched up, take more money, and then head out into the country. Not now. They ought to use chemical agents on these illegals that are breaking into the country, and even more so on those that are assaulting American citizens, our military, Texas National Guard, that are there doing the job that Joe Biden absolutely refused to do. They should use chemical agents to deter them and turn them away. They could also use high-power water cannons and just drench the shit out of them. It's actually pretty demoralizing. Plus, they're probably thirsty. I think that would actually be both a good deterrent and a humanitarian effort by soaking them down. They probably don't smell so good either. They could use a bath, a drink of water, and to be turned around and sent packing. Folks, illegals are assaulting Americans. They are assaulting and invading our country. It all needs to stop, and God bless Texas once again for stepping up and leading the country and showing the way it needs to be done. Okay. I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon, but 0 Dark 30, I will be sleeping. Woo! Now, if something big comes up overnight, first thing in the morning, I will be on right here, bringing you messages, posting stories on YouTube, Facebook. Jolene's out there. Uman's out there. We're all out there. God bless you all. Semper Fi. And, what do we got there, Jolene? All right, everyone. I'll see you guys very soon. Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours.